What's going on, traders? What is going on? Let's get this show rolling. Welcome back to another live stream. If you're new here, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. We'll be live trading some ES today on some funded prop firm accounts. But before we get to that, make sure you read what is on the screen. Trading is very risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing you see or hear from me here or anywhere else is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything, certainly not financial advice, for entertainment purposes only. Make sure you read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in prop firm accounts, and the affiliate partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. Read the full disclaimer. It is down below. Now, let's jump on to the charts, man. Take a look at what we have going for today. Not a bad week for me. Putting some money in these XFAs into Tradeify. Got some payouts rolling. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. Market itself, not doing too good. Market not looking too hot, right? We zoom out here on the 30. This is the micro ES chart here on Topstep X. I've got 3 XFAs, funded prop firm accounts, 50Ks linked together. That's what we're watching right here. I got Tradeify loaded up on a trading view chart, which is coming from Tradeovate, not to make it more confusing, on a separate screen. I'll show you guys that if I'm going to take a trade off of it. We'll look at Bookmap together. We'll look at Forex Factory to take a look at the news that's coming up pretty soon. But we got a minute till NYSE open. This is looking weak, man. This is looking weak overall, right? Let's start at the daily like I like to do, just to take a look at that daily candle that's starting to form. This is pretty damn weak, man. We tried to bounce a couple times here, and we are just hammering into, these lows. We are getting down below again. We put this low in from yesterday after a crack back up to the upside, and now opening up, headed down towards the overnight low that we put in, right, through Asia and London, and then back down towards prior day low. Interested to see what we get here, man. This is looking pretty slippery. Looking pretty slippery to the downside. Now, oftentimes right before the big correction, before the big bounce, it looks the worst. So maybe at some point this week, next week, we do see a pretty big pullback or a correction. We're just going to find support here, whatever it is. But there's a lot going on in the U.S. political sphere with geopolitics, with this tariff stuff, between multiple different countries that if you care about the fundamentals, which I don't for the most part, would make sense, that the U.S. market is selling off right now. So if that helps you, great. If not, we're going to be here staring at price from a pretty technical standpoint. But this is looking really weak, right? Just objectively looking at technicals, forget about, Trump tariffs and all that fun stuff. This is looking really, really weak day over day. We're selling off. I'm going to be cautious hitting the buy button. I'm not going to go for these big reversals. Of course, we're going to be trading low time frames. I'm going to be looking at the 1-minute chart, flowing with the market. If we're breaking to the upside, breaking to the downside, through key levels, through key VWAPs, that's what I'm going to be looking to trade. But higher time frame perspective, we're looking pretty damn weak. So we are open. Ring the bell. Almost a minute into NYSE open here. Here is our 9:30 candle forming right here, right now. On my chart, you see a few levels. Whoa, let's get rid of 15-minute opening range. We're not ready for that yet. We have overnight high, overnight low. We have prior day high, prior day low down here coming off the daily candle. We have 3 VWAPs on my chart. You can only see 2 of them right now because the first one is forming. Standard session VWAP coming out of the indicators tab. Anchored VWAP to NYSE session prior day to 9:30 a.m. right here, anchored to yesterday, March 4th, and then I anchor one to the 9:30 a.m. open. Gives me some reference, gives me some key levels, some volume weighted average prices to utilize. Along with that, I do have discretionary levels. You don't see them right here because we're zoomed in. Volume down on the bottom, visible range, volume profile over here on the right hand side. That's it. That's it. Most importantly, 10 times over, price action and market structure. That is the key. All this other stuff is secondary. Helps us frame where we're at, take a look at structuring risk, gives us a little bit more reference because we are zoomed in here on the 1-minute chart. Only other hidden gem I have on the side is this bad boy right here, Bookmap. This is a order flow tool. It's an N order flow tool showing me level 2 data by way of a heat map. We've got depth of market right here. This is giving me live liquidity in the markets. Don't have to guess where liquidity is because we have tools that show us where it is for the most part. Of course, not everything, but some of it. So, again, this is looking weak. Like yesterday and every other day, I don't want to jump right in the first, 2 minutes of New York Stock Exchange open, one of the most volatile times of the trading day. Going to wait, give this market a little bit of time to open up, kind of start to show its hand, get past maybe some initial volatility, and look to try to flow with that, right? Trending to the downside on higher time frames. Do we continue that sell-off today? Do we start trending to the downside like we did yesterday? Maybe we look for some simple trades to the downside like we did yesterday. Do we bounce here? Do we get back above VWAP? Do we start to see a correction back up to the upside? We are going to hold this low, at least for right here, right now, and continue to the upside. Maybe we pull back lower, initially right off the bat, and then start to bounce. I'm flexible, right? I'm not going to form a super strong bias. I don't come in and say, buys only, sells only before the market even starts moving for New York session. I stay flexible. So try to be as neutral as I possibly can be, even as we're selling off on a day like today, because what can happen very quickly if you trade for long enough, you're here on the 1 minute time frame. You're here on the 1 minute time frame and you're trading the daily chart because we're selling off. Meanwhile, we just got nothing but an uptrend, for the day. We've got nothing but breaks of highs and higher lows getting put in and real clean structure above every VWAP and level that you're looking at on the 1 minute time frame, but you're stuck with this negative bias trying to sell the market as it's ripping to the upside. So I try to avoid doing that to the best of my abilities. Pay attention to the higher time frame trend, understand if I'm counter to that or I'm trading with it, and then what does it look like on the 1 minute, 5 minute, and lower time frames? Where are we in relation to yesterday's candle? Are we breaking to the downside? Are we below yesterday's candle? Are we pushing to the upside? Where are we in the session volume weighted average price in relation to that? Into prior days volume weighted average price and for the session itself. Utilizing basic market structure, price action, volume, a little bit of order flow. That's the key here. That's the key. Appreciate you guys hopping on. Got a handful of people on right off the rip. Appreciate you being here, man. Smash the like button. If you're here from Discord, what's up? The OGs, if you're not in the free Discord, join the free Discord, man. 100% free Discord. I'm here with you guys every day. Hit like, hit subscribe. Join me in this journey through the markets. See if we don't lose our shirt as this market's selling off. We do have some news. It's important to talk about. I have it loaded up right here. We do have 9:45 a.m. orange folder. It's final services PMI. And then we have ISM services PMI. They know about these. They're not major market movers as far as I'm aware. But, medium impact, high impact, these are potential for issue. I don't like when there is 9:45 and 10 a.m. news because that's when I'm trading, right through NYSE session. So this sucks. But we're aware of it. We have 9:45 and 10 a.m. news. If we get a trade on in between there, we can expect some volatility between those time frames. I'm just going to look at financial juice as well. Just want to see what they have those marked as. Yeah, they have both of those marked as high impact. Yeah, that could be dicey. Again, not a big fan of that. Could absolutely be a problem if we're getting trades on in between then. But we'll do what we can do. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Mario. Good morning, Lone Wolf. Good morning, Ali. Good morning, David. Pre-market session was horrible. Prices jumping 4 to 5 handles at a time on MNQ. Yep. Volatile down here, man. Market's jumpy right now. We got a lot going on. Again, I'm not a fundamental guy. I don't say, well, there's, retaliation from, Canada or Mexico on some tariff, or I don't even know what it is. I don't spend my effort there, but I like to pay attention and just be aware, right? Like, not be completely blind to the news. But I'm not going to use any of the headlines to say that's a reason that, we should go short or we should go long. But maybe just to say, hey, there's like wild stuff going on over here. We might see a lot of volatility. We might see a lot of craziness in the markets. Let's be cautious of that. Let's make sure we're utilizing, maybe the measurement tool over here to just take a look and see, what this price action looks like today. Maybe you're going to use the ATR, average true range, to measure out volatility. Maybe you say, hey, dude, if we start to like rip to the upside or rip to the downside, we got a lot going on behind the scenes. Maybe that continues. Again, not really utilizing it as a bias, utilizing it as a way to make trading decisions, but maybe just as a way to exercise a little bit more caution. Kind of like me checking the financial news events, the site right there, and not saying, well, I think, that data, that ISM services PMI is going to come in higher or lower, and I'm going to go short ahead of that. No, none of that. Just that, hey, we got some news coming out, right? A potential piece of data that the market's going to be aware of, or market participants are going to be aware of, and that may cause an increase in volatility. I want to be cautious around those time frames. So that's kind of the thought process there. At least how I, utilize it. A million different ways you can approach news. A million different ways you can approach fundamentals. No wrong way if it's working for you, right? That's the key. So this is kind of choppy so far at the open. We're setting a pretty clean range here. We popped to the upside, got close to this prior day session VWAP. Again, this is not like a super duper strong level. We can kind of just see where it's sitting right here. Came down, tested lows that we put in pre-market, or actually this 930 low again, bounced right back up. Kind of just chopping. I'm a little bit cautious before this 9:45, 10 a.m. We might have an issue here. I'm going to wait for this 15-minute opening range set, at least for now. This does look like a break to the upside, maybe back towards VWAP. I'm not going to jump in, breaking out of consolidation, right? You see how that would have played right here. Would still be in drawdown if I was looking for a breakout right there, or the stop loss right below here. Gun to my head, I'm long on this back towards VWAP, counter to this overnight session trend and higher time frame trend, just because we look like we're going to break out right here. Got some momentum on this candle. We got some volume, but I'm not going to jump in before this 9:45 if I don't have to. I'll just go ahead and let it do what it's going to do. But there's a trade back towards VWAP, 13.5 points of risk. I don't mind discussing the market, right? Giving you just general ideas, even if I'm not going to take it. I'll tell you, gun to my head, what I would do, what direction I'd be, but not a good way to structure risk, and some other reasons to not hop into a trade. So yeah, let's see. Again, 9:45, 10 a.m. That's dicey today. I really don't like that. I want to be cautious around it. It can quickly result in multiple stop outs and a frustrating session. But we're going to be here watching the market, see what sets up, jump into something if it looks clean, if it looks good, put our risk on, and let the odds play out in our favor. That's all we can have. That's all we can do. Take our wins, take our losses. If I got to hop on here with you guys and take 2 L's after some nice wins this week, I'll do that. I'll do what I have to do. Don't have to know what's going to happen next to make money. Despite incorrect belief about the market, nobody knows what's going to happen next with any real degree of certainty. Certainly not 100% degree of certainty. We're just going to react to historical price action and what's happening right here, right now on the chart in a way that allows our edge to play out over time. That's the thought process that I bring to the market. But there we go with that crack to the upside. Is this a really great trade? I don't think so. But would have paid something along those lines. Boom, back towards VWAP. Again, looking more at like a 1-to-1 for some of this stuff. Breakout of consolidation to the upside. A little early, 10 minutes into the session. see what happens here around VWAP, man. Cracking up towards VWAP. Let's see. We will see. We will see. Appreciate the likes and that. Ryan, what's up, man? You can stream in Discord alongside YouTube. Yeah, man, I can only do so much. I can only do so much. It's a good recommendation. There is latency here on YouTube, but this is the bigger platform. More features, more exposure, ability to reach more people doing it this way. Brian, what is up, brother? What is up? But yeah, Discord, Zoom, you know, there's other options for live streaming with low latency, but I do it here on YouTube so I can be in front of the big crowd. Just let anybody that wants to hop on, hop on. You don't have to join a Discord. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to give me an email. You don't even have to subscribe if you want to. Yeah, but no, good, good input. I feel you there, man. Risk settings are locked out. Let's get it, let's get it, Brian. You know the drill. You know the drill. Appreciate you guys hopping on. Smash the like button if you're on here. You don't have to do anything. Free means free, but it helps me out. So cracking the upside, going to test VWAP. Again, we have 9:45 coming up in just 1 minute, about 60 seconds. We have medium impact news. Financial Juice has it marked as red, which would be high impact. So we'll see. I think the 10 a.m. is going to be a little bit more volatile. So we'll see what we get out of this this initial news drops here. Pretty clean price action out of the market, right? Crack to the upside out of this zone. Could have seen that coming from a mile away. Gun to my head, I'm short back to this middle ground. After failing to get above VWAP, looks like maybe we come through this area of low volume right here, down towards this area of high volume, back down to this consolidation, top end or middle, of this trading range that we set for the morning. But we are coming up on 9:45 a.m. Let's see what we get from this news. And then the next 15 minutes, again, we have red folder news. Not major, but something to be cautious of if you're trading low time frames. So let's see what we get. A little bit of volatility on that one, a little wiggly there, right? Not a lot, this is a 1 minute chart. That's not nothing crazy. Yeah, I'd like, I think so. Starting to eyeball stuff, starting to frame, first initial trades. We're starting to form some structure to the upside. Again, counter to the overall higher time frame trend to the downside. Low time frames, this looks like we want to move up. I would have liked to see a deeper pullback. We may still get it. I would like to see a deeper pullback into this trading range, right? Support found down here, maybe after retesting this area of high volume and this session VWAP, and then a push back up to the upside for a potential long play, continuing above VWAP and just seeing some initial push off the open to the upside, some of this follow through for a long play. Now, this isn't really a nice pullback. We didn't even tap this area that I would see as a zone, right? Multiple times tested as support here, tested as resistance. Again, low time frame zone. But a push down into this area and then rejection back up would really tell me, hey, sellers, okay, here we're getting it right now. Hey, sellers are failing to take this thing lower and we're going to crack higher. Conversely, we test VWAP and come all the way through this and start ripping to the downside, I'm looking short. So this is a pretty clean day. Back to VWAP and above this level and cracking above, I'm looking long. Looking long into the 30s. We got liquidity up here as well on Bookmap. Conversely, we come down through this overnight low. This looks like a real clean, higher time frame play to the downside, right? We're selling off, selling off, selling off. Higher time frame selling off. We come back, test VWAP, and now we're breaking the downside. We take everybody out that was getting short down here, and now we're actually going to continue lower. So I'll take it either way based on how we start to move with this structure that's forming. But we got 15-minute opening range, so let's get that marked up real quick. Again, I'm not going to take a breakout to the downside. I just don't have the structure to do that. I would wait as we started to break. My bias would say, hey, I'm looking short on this. I'm going to wait for some break and retest. That's kind of the game plan there. Just get this set up. Get our 15-minute opening range high and low. This is the high and low put in from 9:30 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. Eastern. Can give us a little bit of reference to trade off of. Right, other levels that I like to pay attention to. More often than not, both sides of this are breaking throughout the trading session. That's what the statistics show. That's what you'll see if you look at backtesting. More often than not, both of these are breaking. We typically just don't see a breakout to one side. It makes sense. It's a tight range, right? It's not like initial balance where it's the opposite. Let's see what we get down here. Again, not going to short it from up here. Not going to take a breakout down here. Would need some structure to form. So we start to break to the downside, which is okay. Maybe it gets us past 10 a.m. I'm expecting to see some volatility up or down on that 10 a.m. candle. So I'm okay staying patient. Again, we start to break really aggressively downside. I'm looking short, but I'm going to wait for some kind of structure to jump back in short, right? Like that's kind of the that's the play that I like to take, something along those lines. Again, we find support somewhere down here. We sweep these lows. We do one of these moves. Start to aggressively push back up. I'm looking long on it, so I'm flexible either way. But we're coming up 9 minutes to red folder news. I'm not going to put a trade on, no matter what we do from between now and 10 a.m. I would be looking for a trade to play out in, 6-7 minutes. It's just not really realistic to do, and I would prefer not to hold through red folder news if I don't have to, right? Market's going to move, should, right? Doesn't always. Pretty quickly on that. It's hard to determine what the increase in volatility is, right? I'm not trying to guess which way it's going to go. The market's going to do whatever it's going to do and go whatever direction it's going to go, no matter what. But it's hard to say what that candle is going to look like. And if I'm structuring my trades off of this type of volatility today, I don't know if that next candle is going to be, 5 times the average range of these 1 minute candles, right? Or 10 times, or the same. So you could have direction right and still take the loss because you get stopped first on that big wick back and forth and then a continuation. So it just becomes difficult to deal with that volatility. Not that it's any more like unpredictable, let's say, but the volatility is unpredictable. So that's the way I think about news. Big fan, appreciate you, man. This is micro ES. This is MES in the futures market. So this is the S&P 500 futures contract, the current contract that is trading. It's the H25 contract, if you care, or at least how it's marked in Topstep X and across most brokers. MESH 2025 or MESH25, but this is S&P futures trading on the micro chart, just a different tick value than the mini chart. or contract rather. The chart itself is a Topstep X, which is technically Project X trading view chart. And I have 3 50K Topstep funded accounts daisy chained together here. Copy trading. If you want the details on what we're looking at here. A couple minutes to this red folder news. Again, man, on a different day, I'm probably long here. You know, on another day where we come back down in this range, breakthrough session VWAP, we start to find buyers, like I just said. I'm long this back towards VWAP and a break above. It gives me a 1-to-1 just coming back up there. Again, on another day where I don't have red folder news and I think it's likely to see crazy volatility, this is probably my first trade. But you got to deal with news, right? You got to decide how you want to react to it, how you want to structure your trades around it. Yeah, but this doesn't look bad. That's probably what I'd be looking for, something along those lines. You know, you could anticipate a move higher into the 30s, like I had initially said. Again, somewhat counter to the higher time frame, but just playing off of this structure that's forming right here. Be right back, guys, before we get this news, because I want to be ready to roll once that comes. But be right back. What's up, gang? Let's see. So we cracked to the downside on this one. That initial long would not have paid. Cracking to the downside so far on this. Broke 15-minute opening range low. Again, another day, I'm still looking long on this. If we came back up and broke this, but this now is looking like that second play where we potentially test VWAP and then continue lower. Also cautious of just a choppy, rangy day down here, right? We've had some large movement. A lot of times after large movement, the market starts to rebalance. I'm not as cautious just because we've been selling off so damn hard that I think it can continue. We can see a lot of movement, either correction or just continuation. So I'm not saying like, oh, it's a, you know, no news Monday or Friday where the market's just been chopping around day over day. So I'm really cautious of that. But typically we're either going to go up, down, or sideways, right? We don't go back in time. But we are breaking the downside. Ooh, weakness ahead of this news. There's a crack of overnight low. Longs off the table for me. This is looking short, like I said. Not like I said looking short, right? But like I talked about, what I'd be waiting for is a breakout to the downside, not taking it, but some structure to form for continuation. Now this is going to get tricky because we got 4 minutes to red folder news, and we may get a clean setup over the next couple minutes, like right here, right now, but I'm not going to jump into it. And what may happen is 10 a.m. may come out, and this just may be fuel to the fire to the downside. And, you know, if that happens, it happens. We wait for, you know, more structure to form and find a way to structure risk, right? Where do you place a stop loss if you want to get in right here, right now, right? Where does a stop loss go where you say, well, I don't think it's going to continue down any lower? Here? Here? Probably not right here, right? I think a retest is fine. I think that would be normal. I would want to be in after a retest. So we're waiting patiently. But that's looking weak. Breaking to the downside. Trading into the 770s. Could it be a sweep below before continuation up? Sure, but this looks like just continuation of this higher time frame trend. Staying below VWAP. Testing VWAP, not even breaking above or testing it here in MES, really not even touching it. So let's see what we get here. Man. Yeah, I got a feeling we're gonna see a nice setup here, and I'm gonna have to wait for red folder news. We got about a minute to red folder news. Again, not entering a trade. Here's what we're looking at here. This is looking good for a sell setup if we get a way to structure risk. Now I have a place down here to place a stop loss, right? Doesn't have to go all the way up here. I would be looking at something like this on another day. If we came back down lower, you know, let's say we pulled back and turned. Again, I don't know that this is going to happen. But let's say we pull back and turned. You know, this would give me a way to structure risk for continuation of the downside. So let's see what we get in the next 60 seconds here, guys. Appreciate you guys hopping on. If you jumped on late, welcome to the show. My name is Zach. I'm here almost every day trading live straight from the platform, executions shown, wins, losses, break-evens. You get to see everything. I don't claim to be the best trader in the world. I don't claim to know everything. I don't claim to make all the money and have all these massive payouts, but I'll show you what I do here live for free every day on YouTube. Find that valuable, you can say that dude sucks. I'm going to do the exact opposite of what he does and make money. Remember, trading's risky. Most traders lose money. Not financial advice. For entertainment purposes only. So, testing opening range low, man. Again, we come back down lower on another day. This is a setup to the downside. I got to take that and let it play out. 10 seconds to red folder news. I don't know that we're going to see a big reaction out of this, but we're going to watch it live together. Woo. Chart's frozen. There's the volatility. Woo. Yeah. So, red folder news. Like we said, right? Nothing magical here, right? This is available for everybody. If you're a newer trader or someone that doesn't pay attention to news, maybe this is an example today of why you might want to. Again, not trying to predict which way it's going to go, but just like we talked about, this volatility for a long would have paid nicely, but this volatility is gnarly, right? Look at the size of this candle compared to everything else. How do you structure risk not knowing that that candle is going to print like that? It becomes very difficult. So this structure is looking wild now. Pulled directly back up to VWAP, 250-minute opening range high, you know, above the New York session so far, the high that we put in. Let's see where we go from here. This is ugly. This is really ugly to trade off of. We continue to the upside. We continue to the downside. This is presenting a really garbage way to structure risk. Gonna need more structure on this now. So like I said, tricky, right? We got news. We oftentimes end up with structure like this. This is dicey, man. This is dicey. So we now have a 44 and 3/4, 45 point range put in an ES after a 35.5 point candle, somewhere around there. Let's see what we get here. This is going to be hanging out, staying patient. Interesting though. Interesting. Market liked whatever that data was. we break this, we start to pull back up and break this to the upside, it would look good for longs. You know, going to trade towards the 30s, the 40s, where we have some liquidity above VWAP. We come all the way back down. Again, conversely, it's going to look good to the downside, but how do we structure risk on this? You know, if you don't wait for more structure, if you don't wait for a new invalidation point, it just becomes a little bit difficult. But we'll watch it. We'll see what plays out. We'll see what plays out. We will see what plays out here on ES. Check it out, Bookmap. Excuse me. I wasn't even paying attention. We got some down below. We got some down below. I have to zoom out a little bit for this one. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at on Bookmap in a second. Just want to see if we start breaking these highs. We got some at 820, right above these highs. We had quite a bit at 830. We had like 250 lots on the book. That came off. Again, I'll show you this in a minute. But now, or we've had, I just wasn't paying attention to it, all the way down below prior day's low. We got quite a bit down here. We got like 600, this is showing 629 on the book buy side down here below prior day low. So that is a lot of liquidity sitting down below prior day low. Pretty obvious level, right? You know, down below a low. That's considerable. It's a far distance away for price for the way that I look at Bookmap, but that's something to be aware of if we start selling off. It looks like we want to go grab this stuff up here to the upside. Could be a long play, but it's not really great. Something along these lines coming up. 820 we got, you know, we got orders. That's really a nice risk structure, right? Very best. I'm going to be cautious above 820. So I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to look long on this. This could go either way really cleanly. I'm going to have to wait for us to come outside of this and then start to make a decision. Music's a little loud to hear me. Let me turn that down a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. We'll back off that a little bit, and I'll yell into my microphone. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Yeah, again, eyeball the long here. This still looks good for a long play. To take it for a breakout up to like the 820s. Could do it with really tight risk here and just look for this to break out and go and grab a little bit of profit, but I'm not going to take it right now. We've rejected here a couple times. We did see a lot of volatility. This isn't bad. We keep coming back up here. Buyers want to take it higher. We're finding some resistance at VWAP. It looks like we want to break, but I would really be preempting that break above VWAP and continuation to the upside. But it's not a terrible trade. Terrible. I just think we can still slice lower really, really, really aggressively. There we go. We're going to try it. Look at that. Look at that. Let's see if we go grab that that 820. Yeah, this is, I don't know, man. This is interesting structure. It's not super clean. It's making a case for the upside. That pullback down to session VWAP right to this middle ground and then continuation to the upside gave enough confidence, especially after we pulled back and then came back up again, to take a long breakout. Just not great risk structure at very best, like right at a 1-to-1, and that'd be holding into quite a bit of liquidity there at 820. So I'm not a massive fan of that play, which is why I didn't take it, but it doesn't look terrible with some momentum to the upside. Gonna get a second chance on it, right? Pulling back in here. I'm just gonna let this one ride for now. Just kind of let it do its thing. Yeah, I still think long to 820s. Not showing a ton of momentum here, but we got some structure that formed to the upside. I'm not going to try it. I think we can pull back down here. It's just kind of choppy, man. This is pretty wild price action. This wasn't a bad sell if you were going to get involved in between that news. But with 9:45 and 10 a.m. news, just tricky to try to avoid that. Wait for it to form, and then sometimes it gives you this kind of wild price action to try to structure risk on. Um, so this thing continues to the upside. It's clean. That's a nice move to the upside. Um, and it's given a second chance for an opportunity pulling back down here before potentially continuing. We slice back through this and we see a lot of momentum heading lower. I think this could turn back into the ugly day to the downside. This isn't bad though. Yeah, where do you go with risk? Like down below this 1 minute low, after the pullback on this news candle, to this middle ground, like right here, that's like stupid tight. So I don't like this. Not clean enough. Um, not clean enough. Still coming lower. I wouldn't be too happy if I was in this trade right here, watching it come back and forth. Still might play, right? This level has been this dynamic level, this anchored VWAP to prior day session has been in play a lot today. Here we go right now, rejecting off of it again. Um, Yeah, but I'm in the wait and see mode here this morning. It happens. It's just not clean price action and structure to take trades off of for me and what I look for. I stay patient. You know, I hang out with you guys, look at the market the best I can, uh, interpret what I believe is setting up to provide good risk structure. Um, this looks like we're gonna run for the highs. Yeah, again, I'm looking on Bookmap at quite a bit of orders right here at 820s. This would be where I would be cautious to be holding past. And for that reason, you know, I'm not looking at holding all the way to overnight high or anything out of this zone. So it just doesn't present a good risk structure, right? If I'm cautious that maybe we see selling pressure up here, that's where my take profit's going to go, maybe like right below it. Where does my risk have to go to have this make sense? You know? So we'll see. We'll see if it plays out to the upside. So far, this is very back and forth. We are not really coming lower. Every time we get a chance, buyers step in on volume and bring it higher. So it's still making the case that it wants to run, break out to the upside. You know, we could have rejected here and came right back down. We could have pulled back in again and rejected right here. So it's still making the case to the upside, but I'm not sold on it, and it's just not clean. Like this is just not for me, right? This might be, you might be like, this is exactly what I look for. This is not super clean structure right now, right? We are below VWAP. We're below all these VWAPs. You know, higher time frame structure to the downside. But then what do we have here? Like, okay, kind of expansion, pulling back down, sweep below lows, crack above highs, pull back down to the middle ground, crack highs, making a case to the upside, right? That's why I'm looking long, but this could just do this and then come right back in, and that's ugly, right? You know, look at the highs and lows that we have put in here so far on the 1 minute chart. This is kind of choppy and back and forth and not really clean, right? It's not like what we've seen some of the past days where we break right to the downside, we retest, maybe we sweep a high, and then we just continue down lower and we see really clean directional movement to the downside. We don't have that today. So I don't like to just waste capital. I don't like to just put, you know, shitty trades on, sorry, for lack of a better term, just to get involved and to try to press it and make money. I'll wait. I'll wait into, you know, until we get the structure and price action that I need. I think a lot of traders would do better if they were just able to do that. If you're super scalping, like what I'm testing on NQ, sure, you get a bunch of trades on every session that you trade. Here, even on the 1 minute chart, like I'm looking for it. This just doesn't provide a lot of good structure or opportunity for me, again, which is different for everybody. Like I never say, oh, the market's tough and everybody's having a hard time. No, somebody else is going to be doing well when you're doing poorly and vice versa. That's how it works. NQ is broke 15-minute range both sides. Yeah, too volatile today. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, man. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Yeah, again, guys, let's see what we get here. I don't like to have no trade sessions. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't like to have no trade sessions here with you guys. It's not fun. But if there's nothing good, I prefer to not put a losing trade on than to put a losing trade on, you know, trying to just hunt for one. So we'll stay patient. Again, let's see. Maybe we're going to get the sell-off right here. Like, that's what this feels like. Failing to break higher. Glad I didn't put any of these trades on to the upside. We're not touching 820s, at least for right now. right back down to this, middle ground of high volume, this temporary volume point of control. It might flip to up here because I zoomed out. Staying below VWAP, this is still looking weak on higher time frames. But from low time frame, this is very indecisive, very choppy, very, very ugly, very ugly. So again, we start to come lower and break to the downside. I'm not looking to sell the breakout, but I could certainly see us continuing lower to prior day low. I can show you Bookmap now. We do have, here's my 820s, right? That's kind of what I was looking at. Up here was getting overlapped by this algorithmic stuff, but this liquidity right here, and if I scroll down lower with you guys, just scroll out so you can see everything. That's a big stack. It's turning everything else dark because it's such a big stack. On the book, down below price. Again, this is level 2 data displaying quantity of resting orders on the book. This is not all the liquidity, right? You don't know who's going to come in and do what at any time. Sometimes it doesn't stay there. Anybody's allowed to pull it at any point. But this is showing that we had a large quantity of buy orders down here at 57. Zoom in a little bit. Yeah, 57.42-ish. But we got some on the way down below that, above that rather. Yeah, so this could make a case to break to the downside. Again, a lot of times those levels, price seems to be drawn to them. I take a very dumb guy approach to order flow and Bookmap. I say, let me watch it and see what happens a little bit more often than not. I don't have to create market auction theory, insane narratives around it. I think that can be very helpful to do if you, if that helps you. But for me, I say, well, this is lit up like a Christmas tree down here. Let me watch what happens today. Oh, what do you know? We came down into that order, we filled, ton of volume, and then we reversed from there. Or, wow, a lot of orders were stacking up down below price and down below major lows. We started to knock those out and just come right through that, and it added fuel to the fire to the downside. Maybe I can utilize that in the future. This is looking weak, man. Choppy but weak. We come down below this session low after breaking both sides of this. Maybe we get initial balance here in the next 10 minutes, the first 1 hour opening range. This is looking short. This is looking weak, and I would be looking short down towards prior day low and potentially above with all that liquidity. We've got it starting at like 51. Just showed you that on Bookmap. Coming all the way down, to like right at that prior day low level, actually right before. But this is tough. Like, I don't want to get involved right in the middle of this. You certainly could with a wide stop loss, way above here, and you say, hey, dude, if we continue higher, you're dead wrong. We're not going to head lower. I'm going to wait for price to show its hand a little bit more, maybe take us out of this consolidation, and then look to jump in at a worse price, but maybe a higher likelihood of, the continuation playing out. Although this looks decent right now. Yeah, I was eyeballing this one. This was looking okay. I think this may be the break to the downside. I was eyeballing this one right here. It's like I was saying, this is looking okay. I was just doing some math. Fuck, man. Yeah, I got to, excuse my language. I got to trust my intuition a little bit more on these breakout movements. Just not a real clean way to structure risk, right? Like, where am I going with this? Right above here. On a day like today where we're just slicing through this big ass range, there's not a clean invalidation point. So for me to throw a stop like right here, on another day, we just do that real quick. We maintain this downtrend structure and then start to break to the downside. And we don't break out and run, or we don't do what we just did. So just not super clean structure to trade off of. And what happens is oftentimes based on what's printing, you get a good feel, you have direction. You just don't have a great way to structure risk on it. You don't have a good way to place an invalidation point and maintain, you know, somewhat of a reasonable risk to reward, or whatever I would like to call a reasonable risk to reward. So that's that. We'll see if it continues. So right down to overnight low, buyer stepping back in. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about this. I don't know about this, boys and girls. I'm looking short for a break to the downside. We failed to come up higher. We failed to get above session VWAP. I didn't take the breakout here. We pull back like this, come back up to this area, maybe even sweep highs and then come lower. I'm looking short down towards prior day low. That's what I'd like to see here. But this is volatile and very choppy back and forth. Yeah, this is pretty ugly. This is pretty ugly. Like like look at that 15-minute chart. What do we do with that, guys? Like what are we really doing with that? This is not a nice structure to trade. That's fine. It happens. If you keep yourself out of it, like I have so far, maybe if really anything that you were looking at would have been an L, not that bad. Again, I think we could potentially see movement to the downside. Liquidity down below supports it. Higher time frame supports it. Failing to get above VWAP supports it. We come back lower on this. I'm going to try the breakout short with a stop above this level. That's my game plan. Really going to go light risk on this, though. I'm going to go something like 2 contracts. It's volatile. I'm going to need to run a much wider stop loss than I usually do to have any real resemblance of structure and risk with a clean invalidation point. I'm going to get short from down here, guys. This is going to be my play. Preempting this move to the downside, looking at potential continuation. We have to come back up into this middle ground. I'm getting caught in chop, getting caught in this back and forth choppy ass movement. And in fact, maybe we don't move lower, or we have to come all the way back up here before we move lower. But we are making the case for a move lower. We're pulled back up, continuing lower. Sellers trying to take this thing down on volume. But again, I am looking for a breakout of consolidation, which is somewhat of a dangerous play. Things that are giving me confidence to put this risk on. Higher time frame trend is down. We are staying below VWAP. We had plenty of chances to break above it right here. We've come all the way through this this trading range again, breaking down below overnight low, although rejecting here. Pulled back up, got a level of invalidation that I'm going with my stop above, well above right here. Looking to sell into selling pressure on the way down. Immediately rejecting so far. We'll see if we do continue lower at all on this. But lastly, liquidity down below. Lots of liquidity down below. This looks like we could continue lower if we do indeed break at this point. I think we could absolutely see a quick run to the downside, give me a way to grab some profit. But again, this is choppy. This is very choppy. So, my other option is just having a no trade session. Say, hey, you know what? Just not clean enough for me. I'm done. But this is a setup. This is absolutely a setup. To the downside here on the way down, selling into selling pressure, higher time frame trend alignment, liquidity down below. If I got to take the stop out on this one, I will, and call it a good trade. And I got Scotland the Brave playing, and that's going to get me kicked off live. So I am short 2 micros, light risk, right? Relatively light. I am running a wide stop loss from 57.79 3/4, stop at 5,800 even. We've checked out that level multiple times. We've come through it multiple times. I want to see the break to the downside here. We may not get it. We're finding some support, forming a pretty strong trading range. Sellers trying to take this thing lower. If we go, I think we can go to the downside pretty quickly. But we'll have to wait and see for that. Ooh, we got liquidity getting pulled down below. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This could be a problem. We have those 630 orders are off the book that we're down at the 42.5 level. I don't like that for this trade at all. We still do have quite a bit down below, headed towards prior day low, but that getting pulled is not giving me a warm fuzzy feeling on this. We still have quite a bit. 181 at 57.52, 57.50, all the way down below price. We do have quite a bit down there, but we have these orders coming off the book. I really don't love that. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at right here. This. So remember what we were looking at? Like I said, orders can come off the book. Anybody can do whatever they want at any time. This has since been pulled. I don't love that for the case to move lower. We still do have quite a bit at the 70s, at the 52s, at the 50s. I'm still flowing with price action and market structure here. This is still an okay trade, but that's not appealing. It's not appealing. Was using that for some added confidence there. Yeah, I'm going to be watching Bookmap closely. We may see some of the... I don't know if we break here. We may see some of this stuff start to get pulled. Yeah, I'm out of this one, guys. I'm jumping out right here. This may break and run to the downside, but I got to stick to my guns. And if I'm using, we'll see how this plays, right? My stop loss was way up here. I'm out. I'm out for near break even, 23.52. If I'm using Bookmap and I'm using a level of liquidity, a huge level of liquidity on the book, as a potential target and as some confidence behind a trade, and it gets ripped off the book, and it doesn't get moved up or moved somewhere, I've got to, I have to adjust. And that one I'm just not comfortable leaving on. I'm just not. Again, still may break to the downside. We're chopping around those lows. We may start to slowly drift lower, but I'm going to take it off right there for scratch and just be out. Again, this is choppy. It is making a case to move lower. We didn't break here on the way down. We didn't break here on the way down. And now we've chopped near these lows for, another 7 minutes or so. We still may do it, but I'm just not seeing the momentum and the continuation that I'd like to see. And watching liquidity come off the book down below that I'm using as potential targets, just not giving me the warm, fuzzy feeling. And on that note, It's going to be a one trade for break-even day. One trade really that I pulled. 23.52 times 3. I'm not going to sit here and watch this for much longer. If I was going to leave a trade on, it would be short from down here. I still think we got good potential to run to the downside if you're going to hold on to that, something similar. But this is just too choppy, man. And again, having some confidence down here helping me out and then getting pulled, I'm just going to take it off and wait. If anything, we continue lower. I look for, continuation. I look for structure to the downside, right? We do, in fact, break this level here and this level here. And I say, great. That first trade would have been a winner, but that's okay. I look for structure to the downside continuing towards these lows. That's my game plan, guys. That's my game plan. So we'll see how that trade management plays out, right? I'll take a look at it later, see if we do continue back up to the upside, come and stop me out. Or if we actually do continue lower. But either way, if I see movement and changes and something is giving me new information that's fairly strong, I'll adjust when it makes sense. Oof. Let's see what this looks like. I'll watch it with you guys. Man, choppy session, man. Choppy session. Wouldn't have been fully stopped out, but that's like $150 a drawdown so far. I'm not moving stop loss to break even and moving stop loss around on these trades. If I'm going to get out, I'm going to get out. But we'll see what this thing does. But yeah, in any event, I'm probably just going to hang on this one. Get that money. Get that money. You know it, man. ADR 57.87. Yeah, near yesterday's low. I got you, man. Won my trade. But prop firm trades somehow did not activate, but personal did. At least took some small. Okay, that's annoying. Sorry to hear it, man. Keep your emotions in check. Don't spiral. Caught it twice. I'm going to trade with no fear. Nice. Micro all day. Nice. Yeah, shorten the top of the range and right until it doesn't work. That's a play, man. Or you get a range day like this, if you can shift that way and be a range trader, just buy off the lows, sell off the highs. Nothing wrong with that. But in any event, guys, I'm going to wrap it up right here. 57.47. Yeah, all the way down. I got you. I'm going to wrap it up here. About an hour and 10 into the stream. Again, one trade for watch this choppy-ass market all day. Got short down here around the lows. Wouldn't be happy if I didn't take it off right there, honestly, watching this thing pull back up. But we'll see. If we dump and sell off, down towards prior day low, I would have capped a good winner. But using information, using order flow, using volume to actively manage my trades to the best of my abilities. If we crack back up towards this high, towards this prior session anchored VWAP, above this session, I would have likely been out for a full stop. So you guys can watch that play out. See how that trade management would have done. Right now, would have been too happy. Wouldn't have been too happy. But we don't know. We could dump from right here. Any event, guys, appreciate you being here. I'll be live here almost every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern for free. Streaming on YouTube. Subscribe so you can chat. On Friday, I'm on Topstep TV. I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern. Hanging out with Dobie time. I will be on Topstep TV this Friday. Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. See you guys there. See you guys tomorrow. Let's make this money, man. I'll keep you updated in Discord, let you know how I do with this scalping NQ craziness. And I'll be bringing that to you guys in some YouTube videos and some live trading if it proves to be something that's worth doing. Talk to you guys soon. This would have been my trade and drawdown, so decent trade management so far. We'll see if we do sell back off towards the lows. Shorts would still look good. Trade safe today. Choppy, volatile. Very choppy, volatile. Remember, trading's risky. Most traders lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. I'm here for entertainment purposes only. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. Talk to you guys soon. I'm out.